Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Shadow Space. I am your host, Laura. For all of my returning listeners, thank you so much for tuning back in. I really appreciate your support. And for all of my new listeners, welcome to Shadow Space. I am really excited to have you guys here. I have a very exciting episode for you guys today. And I have been super excited to talk about this topic for a while now. And it's actually interesting because I recently had a very personal experience with this particular topic that I am going to touch on that I will share with you guys as well. But for all of you who don't know me, I am Laura Brown. I am the host of this amazing podcast called Shadow Space. This is a podcast really dedicated for people who are looking for some guidance on their journey towards healing, towards self-development, towards self-discovery. So I post and upload an episode once a week, and I am super excited to be able to be on this platform and to connect with all of you guys, my listeners. And I really appreciate all of your support. As I said earlier, it means the world to me. And I'm really excited to be here. So with that being said, I just want to dive right into the topic of today. So today I want to talk about self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is something that I think a lot of people struggle with. I know for myself, it's been, an area that I have continually been working on and I continue to work on. And as I said earlier in the episode, I was meditating actually early this week. And one of the things that came up for me was self-acceptance. And I thought actually that I had somewhat mastered this area a little bit better. But it was really interesting to be able to revisit that space, because I think every time you're reminded of certain parts of yourself that you may be overlooking, maybe unintentionally, maybe unconsciously, or certain parts of yourself that you may be suppressing, maybe unconsciously or unintentionally, it really sheds a lot of light into, just who we are as a whole being. And, I, through my journey, have discovered that it's not just about accepting the parts of yourself that you love. I mean, that's a beautiful thing, of course, to be able to shine those parts when you feel proud of those areas and you feel proud of those parts of yourself. It's a beautiful thing to be able to shine that outwardly, of course. I think we all do a very good job at that. And sometimes that's kind of where we, inevitably get stuck, because we feel that the other parts that we don't really want to acknowledge are to be hidden. These are the parts of us that we may not be so proud of, okay? These are the parts of ourselves that may even make us cringe a little bit. Or when we think about, other people knowing us in that way, we may feel like we don't belong, or we can't be understood, or we can't be accepted. So self-acceptance, as I have come to understand it better for myself, is accepting the entire package, your whole self, even the parts that you're not so proud of, even the parts that you don't want to really shine the light on, because that is what makes us whole, and that is what makes us complete, and this is why I really put a lot of emphasis on working on the shadow, working on the parts that we unconsciously suppress. And this is where I believe a lot of opportunity lies for many of us, because once you start to look and dig into these parts, you may come to an understanding that may be very surprising, that may be very different than what your original perception of yourself was. And this is where we make a lot of gains This is where I have seen a lot of growth in myself personally. And this is why I think it's really important to also take the time to sit with those parts and really show them love, show them, that appreciation, welcome them in and try to understand them and try to explore those areas without judgment, with a sense of curiosity, because I think that is what expands our understanding of those areas that we're not so proud of, right? And for me, in my meditation, what came up was, it's so weird because like I said, I felt like I was really clear about this for the most part for myself, but what really came up was kind of surprising to me. It was something like I was brought to say to myself, I accept myself. And I'm going to get emotional. Sorry, guys. Because it was so real and raw. But it was so important for me to acknowledge this. But it was as to say, I have to accept all parts of me, even the parts that I do not like. And the emphasis was on the parts that I don't like. And so I found myself saying, I accept myself as I am, even the parts that I don't like. And making that acknowledgement is so powerful because it says to you that you're not disregarding these parts. They're not detached from you. They're not, parts of you that you have forgotten or repressed. They're here. You acknowledge them. You may not like them, but you acknowledge them. They're a part of you. They're a part of what makes you who you are. So I think self-acceptance is all of that. It really encompasses all of that. It encompasses, the parts that we shine outwardly. Oh, that bubbly personality when you meet somebody, the outgoing personality that you show the world. Maybe it's the helpful personality where you're always there for others and you're trying to do your best and go above and beyond for others. These are parts of yourself that you may champion really well outwardly. But then the other parts where perhaps, you feel alone, right? You feel that there's a part of you that is misunderstood. And perhaps there's a part of you that you're ashamed of to even admit to yourself. And that's the other key thing. We have to get to a place where we can admit these things to ourselves honestly. Maybe there's parts of you where you feel a sense of jealousy towards others, and that's okay, by the way, because that's a normal human emotion and reaction. Sometimes there's absolutely nothing wrong with us when we experience a sense of jealousy, but perhaps it permeates within us so much that we want to suppress that, and we want to make everybody else believe that we are never jealous, right? We never experience that, and we don't show that outwardly, of course, because the fear of judgment, right? Or what would others perceive of me? And what would I even perceive of myself? So there's a lot of, opportunity in those parts, because if you really take the time, in the example of jealousy, perhaps, to dig through that, you may come to an understanding that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, and that, maybe that is rooted in something that is a bit deeper for you, that goes a little bit deeper, parts of you where you have forgotten about, or maybe it's rooted in how you grew up. Maybe it's rooted in your experiences, right? And maybe it's rooted in something that can be healed now for yourself, So I think it's really important to take the time to really explore these areas of ourselves that we're not extremely proud of, where we can begin to bring healing to these aspects of ourselves. So for me, that was really enlightening through my meditation when I was brought to say, I very literally and deliberately, I accept all parts of me, even the parts of myself that I do not like. Because now moving forward for myself, I understand there's certain parts of me that I don't quite like, and that's okay. But I'm working through those areas, and I am actually making a conscious decision, right, to show those parts of myself some love as well, because they belong to me. They make me who I am. And there's a lot of opportunity in those areas to see where I can grow, what I can do differently, what I can understand differently, what I can perceive differently. So that is really what I wanted to talk about today, because I think all of us kind of get caught in these, cycles of just portraying a picture that is very different than who we are truly, than our true self. And our true self encompasses the light and the dark, right? Hence the shadow, right? So these parts of us, the duality of both light and dark, make us who we are as a whole being, makes us who we are as a complete being. And it's important to take all of those parts along with us on our journey and to really embrace all parts of us if we really are looking to live an authentic experience in our life, right? And to live authentically. So I really encourage you guys to reflect on this for yourself, to see where you might be suppressing certain areas of yourself. And what does that mean? Where is it rooted? How can you reframe these parts differently? How can you reframe the narrative event differently for yourself in order for you to move forward and heal these parts of yourself and embrace yourself as a whole being, and actually really stop the narrative that something is wrong with you? Because there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with us for having parts of us that we don't like, that we suppress, that we may not be proud of. I think these parts are worth exploring. That is where a lot of the treasure lies. This is where we can really make leaps and bounds in our growth and, how we evolve moving forward. So there you have it, guys. I hope that this was enlightening in some way and helpful in some way to you guys. And with that being said, I will be back next week with another topic. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe a little bit lighter than this one. But with that being said, I just want to encourage you guys to continue on your journey of healing, on your self-development. It is so worth it. And I wish you all the best. Peace and blessings, love and light. And I will see you guys on my next episode. Bye.